Canadian Rockies is a beautiful destination regardless of when you come to visit, but I would argue that winter has a special sort of significance and beauty that is just unmatched. So today we are going to go through 10 different things you can do while visiting the Banff National Park Canadian Rockies area to make the most of your next trip or vacation here. Before we get started, my name is Caitlin. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I really appreciate you being here. I post all sorts of things about life in Banff, information about traveling to Banff, and traveling in Canada in general. So make sure you hit that subscribe button today if you enjoy this video. But otherwise, let's get into my 10 tips for a winter trip. The first thing you should absolutely do on your next winter trip to Banff National Park is try out some of the world-class skiing and snowboarding we have on offer here. The ski season in Banff is one of the longest in North America. It runs from the start of November until about the end of May, which is just phenomenal. We have some of the most consistent snow and beautiful champagne powder. Riding out here is really a special experience. If you've never done it before, that is fine. There are lessons, there are rentals, you can learn, you can give it a go. You can even just go up on a sightseeing ticket if you just want to see the place and it's really not for you. But I do think that the skiing and riding we have out here is phenomenal. In Banff National Park itself, we have 3 different resorts. We have Mount Norquay, which is about 10 minutes from town, Sunshine Village, which is about 20, and then Lake Louise, which is about 40 minutes. They all have such different terrain on offer and offer very different experiences. And if you have the time to check out all 3, go for it. If not, make sure you go see one because they are so beautiful and so worthwhile. My second recommendation for things to do while you're in Banff National Park is go ice skating. Now, there are maintained outdoor rinks in the town of Banff and in Lake Louise. The Fairmont maintain a section at the front of the lake, so once it is fully frozen, they Zamboni it, they keep it nice and smooth, and then throughout the season there is even an ice castle that they build there, which is just gorgeous. So that is a truly magical experience in itself. In the town of Banff, we have ice skating rinks at the Fenlands, like behind the Fenlands, and in the train station parking lot. So those 2 are both free, accessible rinks as well, where you can go for a little skate with your family or just by yourself. But my favorite type of skating personally, if you're here and you are lucky to go out and find some wild ice, that is just the most special thing you can do, in my opinion. Whenever you are going out to frozen lakes though, you need to be super careful. This winter I have bought an ice screw from Black Diamond just to make sure that I can test the ice thickness. It should be 15 centimeters for you to be able to safely walk and skate on it. Thicker if you are going with more of a group and there's more people out on the ice. But wild ice skating is just one of my favorite things in the whole world. I made a video last winter, I'll link it up the top for you guys now, but all about this skating we did all in 1 week. So if you are here and you have great conditions for skating, by that I mean cold weather so the lakes are frozen but not enough snow to have settled on top of those lakes, go check it out. You can rent skates all around town. Backtracks is one of my favorite places to do that. Super affordable. Give it a go. Skating here is so worth it. It is just beautiful. My third recommendation for things you can do here in winter is go either hiking or snowshoeing. Now, a lot of the trails do close in winter, but there are still so many different options available. One of my favorite winter hikes is Johnson Canyon. Now, this is a super popular hike during summer as well, but in my opinion, it is more beautiful in winter because once those waterfalls freeze, it is just the most picturesque view you'll find. Grotto Canyon is another one that I adore. It is out in Canmore, really beautiful. I think it is about a 7-kilometer hike round trip from memory, but fairly accessible. That takes you to some gorgeous frozen waterfalls as well, and I think there is honestly nothing prettier. Out at Lake Louise, if you want to go on any little hikes, the Fairview Lookout is a really good one. It's about 2.5K round trip, but it will take you up to a little lookout where you can see the frozen lake, people skating, and the Fairmont Lake Louise in the background. It is such a picturesque view. So those 3 are some of my favorite, but there are so many hiking and snowshoeing trails out in Banff. If you've never gone snowshoeing, give it a go. I'm still new to that myself, but it is really fun and it can take you places you can't normally get to. So that's some really good options. For number 4, why don't you go and do some dog sledding? This is something I haven't personally done, but it looks like such a fun, cool activity. I know they do it in Canmore, which is very, very close to Banff. And then I know there's probably other ones all around, but I've had friends do it and they have spoke so highly of it. I can't think of anything more festive and seasonal to be out on a sled, wrapped up in blankets, maybe with a hot drink, being pulled around by some dogs. So I think that is a really cool activity you can definitely look into if you're in the area. For number 5, I don't think a trip to the national park would be complete without a cozy restorative day. If you have time for this in your next trip, I would definitely go and check out the hot springs. Now you have a couple of options for this. The first one is within the town of Banff and Banff National Park. You can go up there, it costs about $16, and there is this big pool with views of Rundle Mountain behind it. It is really beautiful. It is open to everyone, so there are children there. It does get quite busy during summer. Winter it slows down a little bit, I think, so that might still be a nice option. But my personal favorite is out in Kananaskis. So the Nordic Spa is at Kananaskis Pomeroy Lodge, and it is my favorite place to go and relax. I would only spend about an hour at the Banff Hot Springs personally, but this Nordic Spa, I've gone there and I've just spent hours on end because it is the most beautiful outdoor hot spring experience. So there are multiple different hot, cold and warm pools, saunas, steam rooms. It is an adult only experience, so if you're coming for that type of vacation, that might be better suited to you. Now it does cost a bit more. I think it is over $100 per person to go and do it, but for a whole day experience, you can even get food on site. It is one of my favorite things to do. So Kananaskis Nordic Spa is something I highly, highly recommend. For number 6 today, I want to mention ice climbing. So if you're coming to the park and you want to do something a little bit more adventurous this winter, why don't you give ice climbing a go? There are so many tour companies around that will take you on guided experiences. They have all the gear for you and they'll instruct you on how to do it safely. But I think that is such a cool experience to climb up frozen waterfalls. It is so cool. So if you're looking for an adventurous activity, definitely go check that out. For number 7, I want to mention wildlife spotting. Now this is beautiful any time of year. I do find the animals kind of disappear a little bit in summer though, so coming in winter might be one of the best things you've done for wildlife spotting. If you have a car, you can drive around and go in search of some beautiful animals by yourself. If you don't though, or if you want some more insider tips, there are businesses in the town of Banff that do wildlife tours. The best time to go out and do this would be dawn or dusk. That is when these animals are most active, but you can get to see them just in all their beauty and glory. I love the wildlife around the national park. It is one of my favorite things about living here. So definitely try and get out and see if you can see something. Otherwise, join a tour. There is no harm in it and you never know what you might see. For number 8 today, I want to mention tubing. Now, snow tubing is so fun, and I honestly didn't even know it was a thing before coming to Canada. But whether you're coming with friends, a partner, or a family, tubing is such a fun activity. You basically just go on these large inflatable tubes, go down the mountain, and then a little escalator takes you back up it, so you don't even have to walk up. It's so much fun. I love it. Mount Norquay is the place in Banff National Park to go and do that. It is a fairly inexpensive way to experience a ski hill and to get out and have fun. Add it to your itinerary because it is worth it. For number 9 today, I want to mention Northern Lights. Now, the Northern Lights are such a special phenomenon, and by coming in winter, you have an advantage and a higher likelihood of seeing them. Now, this is never guaranteed, and you do need very perfect conditions in order to do so, but you can see the Northern Lights from Banff National Park and Jasper National Park especially. Jasper is a dark sky preserve, so that would be a great place if you are up there. Banff is also a good opportunity as well. I have seen them multiple times over the last few years, and it is just gorgeous. So a couple tips I have. If you are wanting to see the lights while you're in the park, sign up to an Alberta-based Northern Lights notification service. They'll send you an email when there is a good likelihood that the lights are going to be out, and that is a good notification to get you, looking outside and ready to go. Secondly, I never personally just go out and wait. Winter is cold. You don't want to be sitting outside late at night if it is not going to be out. So my favorite thing to do is to watch the Sunshine Village live cam. Now this is a live stream feed on YouTube of just the sky at Sunshine Village, but Sunshine is only 20 minutes from here. So if you can see the lights on the cam, you're going to be able to see them from the town of Banff. They will show up brighter and look more colorful on the camera. They always do, regardless of whether it's our phones or a live stream or whatnot. But if they're out on there, it's worth going out. If you can't see them on the camera, for me, I would never go out because I know that they're just not up there yet. Things can change quickly though, so keep an eye on it, and it is a great time to hopefully spot some beautiful northern lights. If you are trying to see them from Banff and you have a car here while you are traveling, Cascade Ponds and Lake Minnewanka are my two favorite places to go. Vermilion Lakes could also be a good option, as well as the lookout at Mount Norquay. So the first two are where I typically go, but I have seen people at these other locations as well. So my fingers are crossed that you get to see them next time you're here. The last thing I'm going to mention today, and our number 10 from my top things you should do in Banff this winter, is check out all of the festivals and events that are happening. So Snow Days is one of my favorite things. They make all these awesome snow carving sculptures around the town of Banff, and you get to go on a little self-guided tour and learn about these sculptures and the people that made them, and they look phenomenal. Lake Louise also has like ice sculpture competitions or ice carvings that are there, which is really, really cool. When you are coming through, I would check out on the Town of Banff website, see if there's anything happening in the area. We do have a lot of Christmas markets throughout November and very early December, things like that as well. The Spirit of Christmas is another feature they have around December time. So there's always something happening in the park. And I think in winter, crowds are a little slimmer, it's a little bit quieter. There's still a lot of people here to ski and snowboard and do all of these fun winter activities, but there's a few more things happening that you can get involved in around the town as well. So keep an eye on local pages and bulletin boards and, you know, that website, the Town of Banff. There will always be something happening, so check that out before your next trip. Now that wraps up my top 10 things to do. However, when you are coming to Banff, always make sure that you are dressing appropriately, you have the appropriate gear and safety measures in place if you are going to do some of these more adventurous or outdoor activities. It does get really cold here. It fluctuates anywhere from like 0 to -30 over the span of winter, so you do want to be prepared for all conditions. In winter, it is also worth potentially considering guided tours just for your safety and so you can have a great experience. If driving out here is not something you feel comfortable doing with the snow and road conditions, there are so many companies in town that will be happy to show you around our beautiful park and give you the best time here possible. So definitely look into that, make sure you're comfortable with what you're doing, but I wish you all the best on your next trip. I hope something in this video today has resonated with you and you'll put that on your itinerary. Let me know if it has, or what your favorite thing to do below is in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe. I will see you guys all again soon in another video. Otherwise, happy winter. I hope you have the best trip.